Hi, and welcome to FLAVA BUTTA Gourmet Butter. Today, we're in the kitchen, and I'm going to be demonstrating how to make my famous Smokey Paprika FLAVA BUTTA Gourmet Chicken Thighs. You're going to love them. So now the first thing I need to do is I need to prep the kitchen before we put it in a 375-degree oven for 45 minutes. So one of the first things I recommend is when you get your thighs, please make sure you clean them thoroughly, and then you're going to want to pat them dry. Bring them to room temperature. And then the first thing I recommend you do is just a little salt. You want to just salt it a little bit. Not a lot, because there is a little bit of kosher salt in the butter itself, but this helps to bring out the flavor. And you want to make sure that you are salting both sides. If you'll notice, I'm using gloves because we're getting ready to bathe our chicken in this beautiful butter. And it just goes on a little bit smoother if we use the gloves. All right, so now I've salted it. Now what I want to do is I'm going to use about 5 tablespoons of our beautiful butter here. Let me just wipe my hands really quick. And this is the butter. It's our smoky paprika with garlic and chives. It's so good. If you haven't tried it yet, oh, I so recommend it. All right, so let's open up our beautiful butter. And then this is what you get to see inside. You can see all that beautiful smoked paprika and the garlic and chives all infused in the butter. So now what I'm going to take is I'm going to take 5 tablespoons of this butter, and we're going to liberally coat the chicken thighs. So here's one. And as you see, I've kind of brought it to room temperature, which is really, really important. So there's one right there. There's 2. 3. Now, if you want less, that's going to be up to you. I like to liberally coat them. I want to make sure that when it cooks, it really has that flavor all infused. And then we have 4 and 5. And you can see why it's really important that you bring this up to room temperature. Okay, so now that we've done that, let's put this aside. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start working on coating each one of the thighs. And you just want to liberally, really want to coat it really nicely on both sides. You want to make sure both the skin, and you can even lift the skin, and I even recommend putting some of it under the skin, so it really starts to, the flavor gets on the chicken as well. So we're going to do some of that as well. I'm going to coat the outside, and then let's flip it over and make sure we get the underside. So we really want this flavor to permeate the chicken. As it bakes in the oven, it's just going to take on the flavor of the smokiness, the butter. It's just going to lend to the flavor. Okay. And now you can see why you have to bring it to room temperature, because it does take a lot to get it all mixed in. Voila. As you can see, it's nicely coated on both sides. I really made sure there's a lot of butter on here because you really want it to cook into the chicken. You want the flavor to be really intense. And oh, by the way, I really recommend that you use parchment papers when you're cooking. It's just easier for cleanup. Plus, as you can see, it'll be a lot easier for the butter to stay on the chicken. So then what we're going to do is we are going to preset the oven to 375 degrees. You're going to put this in the oven for 45 minutes. I do recommend that you check on it, and we are going to continue to baste it until it's beautiful and golden brown. All right, we are going to put this in the oven in the middle shelf. And like I said, we're going to set a timer for 45 minutes. I recommend you check on it in about 20 minutes, see how it's doing. You're going to want to baste it throughout, and in 45 minutes we're going to have beautiful golden brown, gorgeous, amazing chicken. Right, so about midway through I basted it, and it took the full 60 minutes to cook it. Let's take a look and see how it turned out. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. And here we go. Here are our smoky paprika and garlic and chives FLAVA BUTTA chicken thighs. I think they came out perfectly. Look at that. It's juicy, it's crispy. Oh, I can't wait to cut into these. These are going to be so delicious. All right, now that we've made this beautiful gourmet chicken with the smoky paprika FLAVA BUTTA, I need to make some sides to go with it. So I've decided I love yellow squash, and this is the season for it, so I'm going to do some yellow squash, and I'm going to cook that in our rosemary and garlic FLAVA BUTTA. And we have some nice cremini mushrooms, and I'm going to do that actually with my caramelized onion butter. It's going to be awesome. So first thing I want to do is I just want to add a little bit of salt and pepper. And I think if you know anything about mushrooms, mushrooms absorb a little salt. So we're just going to put a little bit on each one. And with the squash, I'm going to add a little bit of pepper just to give it that extra little dynamic in the flavor. I'm going to cook both of these in a saucepan, and you'll get to see the results when we're done. And then we can eat. Okay, so I'm going to add in the rosemary and garlic butter. I've got the pan on a nice medium heat. You can see the nice big chunks of garlic and the rosemary. And we're just going to let this melt. Get that going. You don't want to burn it, so that's why you want to do it on a medium heat. I don't know about you, but I really like butter with my veggies, so I'm going to add about another tablespoon more. Alright, get that going. Meanwhile, in this pan, I'm going to add in the... Oh, where's my napkin? Alright, in this pan here, we're going to add in the caramelized onion butter. And that's what we're going to do the cremini mushrooms in. And this is made with... Oh, I guess I'll just do the whole thing. Because it all just went in there. So this is actually the caramelized onions I do beforehand. They're caramelized, they're beautiful. And then they're put in a food processor. I whipped them up with the butter. I added kosher salt. They're just amazing, just absolutely amazing. And it's going to add a nice dimension and flavor to the mushrooms. So we just want to get this kind of started and melted. This is going to be amazing. And we will check over here. It looks like this butter is doing well. I'm going to turn down the heat a little bit because we don't really want it to burn. We just want it to melt it. And now I'm going to throw in my yellow zucchini or yellow squash. Put that all in there. I'm going to make sure it's all coated. And we're just going to saute this, as you can see. Oh, they're escaping. As you can see, we're just getting it coated. You can see each piece is going to get coated nicely. And we are just going to cook this slowly in the butter. I've turned down the heat to medium, and we're just going to let this cook in that beautiful butter. Now with this one, I'm going to throw in my mushrooms. Now mushrooms don't like to be on top of each other when they're cooking, and that's why I'm using the bigger pan. They really like to be spread out. Plus they absorb everything, which is why I already put a little salt on there. So we're just going to move these around. I want it so that they all get coated with the butter. They're going to get that nice caramelized onion flavor. Get them nicely coated. And give them a little space so they can get nice and brown and yummy. Yes, mushrooms do not like to touch each other when they're in the pan. Okay, I'm going to flip. There you go. They're starting to get nice and brown. Okay, and now here is our finished product. You can see the chicken is juicy and tender. It's cooked all the way through. Look at that. And you know with thighs you have to make sure it's cooked all the way through, and that's why the hour is so essential. You can see it's falling off the bone. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice into it here, and I'm going to begin plating it. And let's make sure that we get some of that beautiful juicy skin to include with it. And there, it's like a perfect piece right there. And if we want, let's do the other side. So I want to set on this other beautiful side. Chicken. There you go, 2 perfect pieces of chicken right there. Alright, and now what I'll do is I'm going to serve up the vegetables because those are done. So let me get a spoon here, and I'm going to plate zucchini. Came out perfectly with that beautiful rosemary and garlic butter. And And the mushrooms with the caramelized onion butter are just gorgeous. We'll plate those in the center. Now you can do your plating however it is that you want. Usually I plate the vegetables first and then I would lay the chicken on top of it. You can add rice, you can have whatever you want with this. I mean, I think this is going to be an absolutely delicious dish. Flavorful. I wish you could smell it. It's heavenly. So I hope you try all these recipes and enjoy. So we have these beautiful wildflowers in our backyard, and these are edible. And I love to put these on the plate. So I'm going to add this to the plate. Let's go back in the kitchen and I'll show you how I would normally plate this beautiful dish. In your kitchen. Now look at that. Doesn't that look amazing? I wish you could smell the aroma. It's amazing. And that chicken is going to be so good. We'll slice off the leg here. Add that to the plate. And voila. That is going to be an amazing meal.